Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Hi, folks. I'm Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Hi, I'm Chris the Pharmacist.
And I'm exactly one half of the Bob and Brad therapy channel. And we have Chris here today. He's done a ton of research on the most recent information we have on testosterone levels and how to boost it naturally.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm assuming people want to boost their testosterone. Is it mostly so they can get more muscle mass, or are there other benefits?
Testosterone is a really unique steroid. It's
Oh, wait.
Oh, you got to go do your giveaway.
The giveaway, we don't have one here, but if you look below the video, you'll see there is a giveaway there. But we're going to get back to this. I apologize.
Nope, that's all right. So the giveaway is key, right? So nonetheless, testosterone, it's a unique steroid hormone that's based off of cholesterol, which is kind of funny. So people think, well, gosh, my cholesterol's high, so is my testosterone high? It's not the case. It doesn't work that way.
But testosterone is just in men or women too, or
women and men both have it. So men, it's going to be it's going to be made in your testicles and also your adrenal glands.
Sure.
Women, it's going to be made in the ovaries and also the adrenal glands, but at a much lower level.
Okay.
So guys have a certain level and women have a certain level.
Okay.
But they're both testosterone and men also have a certain amount of estrogen that we produce as well. So, but with respect to what's high, what's low, what's good, what's bad, I think that's kind of the question we're all trying to really figure out. Testosterone is responsible for a lot of different things. As early as 7 weeks in the womb, we start if you're male, you start producing testosterone.
Okay.
Which is kind of an interesting study, I thought. But what's more intriguing is, it helps with our development. So as we go from being a little boy to an adolescence to a man. So we're going to see different levels of testosterone being fostered, and it's what determines our growth, hair growth, voice deepening, sexual organ functioning. So, it kind of covers that. As we age, it's going to be your bone health. It's going to be your muscle development. It's going to be your mood. So it does a lot of different things. It's your libido. So it's your desire for, procreating and just having fun in the bedroom. So, it's a lot of different things. So it governs a lot of things for us. So there's a condition called low T that your doctor would be very specific dialing in things for you, and it would require a blood test, because if you have to have medical testosterone supplementation, it requires very serious monitoring, because if you're just taking steroids off the street or just trying to find the greatest and latest testosterone booster and you have low T but you're doing it indiscriminately, higher risks for certain cancer, blood clots, heart disease, cholesterol. So it has to be tightly monitored. So when we want to look at things naturally, we want to do it safe and keep it in just a normal, safe guideline.
Sure.
So what can we do? It's going to be kind of just our pillars of health in a lot of ways. It's going to be eating well, it's going to be getting our proper rest, and it's going to be exercising. And those three things and we'll kind of dig into each of those, kind of help to naturally raise our testosterone levels, albeit for short periods of time, because it doesn't stay up here. Interesting, so when we wake up in the morning, our testosterone levels are higher. Usually for most people, between 7 and 10 in the morning is what most studies suggest. Not correlation. It must have to do something with the rest.
And you measure testosterone levels via blood? Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to take a blood test. So, and if you were worried about it, you should definitely discuss it with your doctor, because what does it mean? Well, maybe you have a depressed mood, maybe you're feeling weak, maybe you're gaining weight, fat around the midsection. So it's interesting, but that kind of comes down to cortisol, and that's another. So when we talk about diet, cortisol is something that is kind of like the testosterone blocker. It kind of runs interference. So testosterone helps us to produce lean mass. It helps, and stronger bones. And so when we eat a bad diet through processed food, so anything that comes in the box, we've talked about this on many occasions. You really don't want that. You want whole foods. You're going to want fruits and veggies. You want, actually, believe it or not, you need to have some fat.
Sure.
So basically the breakdown, it's interesting. You want, and here's another thing that's unique, but for testosterone, you need carbohydrates. So you want about 50% of your calories to come from good carbohydrates. So
example of
good. Like it would be food-wise, it would be things like yams, potatoes, brown rice, those types of things. They are starchy, sugary foods.
Sure.
But those starchy, sugary foods also have other phytonutrients in there, but things that are important for our body to help it process testosterone to get that to naturally raise.
Okay.
Coupled with about 20% of your calories coming from protein and then the remaining 30% of your calories should be coming from fat, and I mean healthy fat. I don't mean ice cream. I mean it's got to be avocados, nuts. It's going to be animal fats, sardines, like a fatty fish.
So meat. If you got the fat that is associated with meat.
Yeah. So I mean, you can do like a lean ground beef that's going to have healthy animal fat in there. But if you're vegan, then it's going to be your nuts, your legumes.
Okay.
Soy is somewhat controversial because they say that stimulates estrogen and may block some of the effects of testosterone. So much as I could garner, I would probably say that even though it's a good protein source for a lot of people, it may actually kind of be counterintuitive, but it's so inconclusive that I would tell you if it's been working for you, you can certainly stick with it. But if you feel like, just shake it up, try a little bit different protein source.
All right. So diet, you're going to be eating good proteins, good meat, good fats.
Correct. And timing is everything too. So let's say we did a workout, and we'll talk about exercise more, but I mean, the timing of getting those nutrients in you. So right shortly after workout. So if you and I are going to do an interval ride, or if we swam and then lifted weights or did resistance work with the bands, right after, within about 15 to 30 minutes of having our workout, we want to be ingesting something with the right kind of proteins.
Right.
So, and it doesn't matter what you get it from. Well, let's say it was eggs. Let's say it was a chicken breast. Let's say it was a powder that you bought from the local health food store.
Sure.
Those are all excellent sources. So it's all clean protein. And from a body weight standpoint, you're probably going to want to do, and what I've found across 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So let's say you're a 200-pound guy, it's going to be about 160 grams of protein.
So is that like 3 steaks?
Yeah. So, and I mean, that would be throughout the day. You try and ingest 160 grams of protein, that's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
So you're going to divide that. But if you want to get maybe 30 grams in you right after you work out, and then make sure so whether it's a protein shake, it's kind of a quick, easy.
I mean, because a lot of people may not. I mean, there are some people that get into their diet so well they know
they do the macros and the micros, and it's,
right.
So
if you're not that, I mean, you just make sure you eat plenty of meats. And stuff.
But whatever protein source you choose. So let's say our vegan friends, we certainly want. But you're going to want that ratio, or if you're metrically based, it's going to be 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram. But so whatever protein source you choose, it's going to help to foster development. But if you can't just have a diet high in protein, if you're just eating a high protein diet, it actually can hurt you insofar as it actually decreases the amount of testosterone your body makes. So you need to have the healthy blend of carbs.
Okay.
And of healthy carbs.
Right.
As well.
Right.
So you don't want to be just white sugar in it all day long.
Right.
It's a carbohydrate, but it's not good for you.
Right.
And then you also want to have a healthy blend of healthy fats.
Right.
So things that have your omegas. And so those things that are going to be very, very important for those fats also do other things. They help with not only the manufacture of cholesterol, which cholesterol is actually a building block for testosterone.
Sure.
So that's why the fats are important. So that balance, although very complex, is very important for us. So if you just lean to, all protein all the time, you're probably going to end up finding, if you did blood work, you will find lower testosterone levels.
Sure.
So I thought that was kind of interesting because I thought it would be, high protein diet and off the go.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, not so fast, my friend. So it's something we have to be careful with.
So we're going to eat the high protein with the fats and the good carbs.
Good fats.
Right
good
after you get done working out is best.
Yeah, and like I said, you're not going to put so let's say you're a 200-pound guy like myself. You're not going to take all 160 grams at once.
Sure.
It's healthy meals throughout the day.
Sure, right.
But you do want to ingest protein right after a workout because it will help with recovery, which gets you ready for the next event, or your next workout, your next race, your next whatever.
Right.
So, but it does help to facilitate that, and actually, you just get a spike. It's not a sustained thing either. So but things that over time, which help you to continually develop, put on more muscle mass, take care of the bones. So very important.
Is there any supplements that can be?
Yeah, So supplements, you can use vitamin D. So that one is actually an interesting study that showed that if you took 3,000 IUs a day, and you would look on your bottle, you want vitamin D3 because it's the most bioactive form of D. They showed that over 8 weeks that it actually raised people's testosterone to the tune of about 25%. So it was kind of an interesting study. But again, with respect to, I don't know where low testosterone levels are, and I think it's we'll backtrack a little bit. Our testosterone levels peak at about 18 to 19, plateau in our 20s.
Yep.
And from 30 on, for the rest of our lives, it's going to decrease at about 1% a year after the age of 30. But that's not a doom and gloom thing either. I mean, and everybody has a different range of testosterone.
Sure.
On the low end of normal, it's going to be, if you're going to be real egg-headed, it's going to be 300, nanoliters per deciliter, which is a teeny tiny, infinitesimally small, to about 1,250, nanoliters per deciliter. So again, that would be something your doctor would determine if you had a blood test. But the average person, I mean, it's if you're feeling depressed, you don't have any libido, you don't have any desire to do anything, you're weak, gaining weight. These would be signs to see your doctor, because then it might have to be medically managed. And so, but for the vast majority of us, if we're exercising well and eating well, or maybe taking a vitamin D supplement or getting out in the sun. But right now for us, it's January. We're above the 37th parallel. We are not getting good or appropriate sunlight. I mean, when I was driving in this morning for an appointment, it was minus 27.
Right.
So not going to be the day to be sunbathing. Plus, the rays aren't going to really do its job.
Sure.
So vitamin D supplements certainly help. They've showed, particularly more in fertility cases, zinc as a supplement, zinc sulfate, 220 milligrams twice a day, improves sperm motility, but also will help to give you a little bit more testosterone. So small percentages, so not very significant.
Yep.
The other supplement that seemed to be relatively interesting is not so much for how much testosterone it fostered, but what it did against cortisol, which is kind of the block. It's ashwagandha. So it's an Indian herb that's been used for thousands of years. It's kind of an anti-inflammatory of sorts. It helps to minimize anxiety, and I think that's the target right there. Anxiety tends to raise cortisol. Cortisol is what makes us develop that belly fat.
Sure.
But it's also, in times of stress, it makes you burn lots of sugar, so that natural flight or fight reaction. So if you're like stressed at work, and let's say Bob's just getting on you at work all day long and just telling you, Brad, we need more research, we need more product, we need more videos, and you're just like, I can't deal with it. Well, your body will go into a sort of a mode where it starts to produce more cortisol, and you'll feel sluggish, you won't feel quite right, and even though it's giving you quick energy to maybe deal with the problem right in front of you, it's creating long-term deficits in your body, you're developing more fat, you're getting weaker. So this particular herb, ashwagandha, works really well by reducing the amount of cortisol you produce. You also relaxing better, sleeping better, getting better rest at night, and actually is a naturally anti-inflammatory, which is a total different side effect. But
so where do you get this?
Any health food store, you can find it on Amazon. The doses range from a variety of different doses. It's most commonly, it seems like 500 milligrams twice a day seems to be the average dose. But you have to kind of watch it with that. So if thyroid condition, pregnancy, absolute no-nos. So, again, check with your pharmacist or doctor, or definitely do some research before you take it.
It's not in food or a diet thing.
No, it's an herbal supplement used in basically Indian medicine.
Sure.
But it's something that you will find like at your Amazon, local pharmacy, health food stores will have it, pill form or powder form. Or even drops. They have sublingual drops that absorb a little bit better. So, but it had a range of 500 milligrams to 1,250 milligrams. So there's not really a cut and dried dose.
Sure.
But again, it seems to work more on helping protect against cortisol development, or that stress hormone, which we've found in cases of fertility. It seems to help to improve fertility, and in a backwards mechanism, free up more testosterone to help you with strength.
Sure. Right,
so those would be from the supplements. So, you want your good proteins, you want, the carbohydrates like we said, and some of these supplements might be beneficial.
Sure.
So, but more importantly is probably exercise. So, and that's the big thing. And so specifically weightlifting. So actually resistance training seems to, although all exercise is good, you can still stimulate testosterone production from a long run. So if you're marathoners are not being left out here.
Right.
Swimmers are not being left out here. But weightlifting seems to be best.
Sure.
Followed up by HIIT training, or that high intensity interval training
method.
Right. So, and there's lots of different ways that you can do those workouts, and you can find zillions of workouts like that are catered for people online. But resistance training, so if you haven't done anything, then this is your arena. Proper form, making sure that your body is capable of being able to do these types of things. Start small and build up.
Right.
Because you will also find some sources that tell you that, going heavy is better, but you need to build up to that. That's not something that you're going to go out and do a 300-pound deadlift, doing 3 sets of those, and you're blowing out your back, and now you're set back again.
Doing your 1 rep max right off the bat.
Exactly. We're not doing that. So, but but resistance training is key, but anything is good.
Sure.
And so that helps our bodies because basically when we exercise, we tear our muscles. And so one of the body's mechanisms, and testosterone helps it to heal.
Sure.
And then develop growth and then, of course, more strength.
Yep.
And so when we have healthy testosterone levels, those things are all working in the right direction. We have more lean mass, more energy, better bones, more libido, clearer thinking, better health.
Right.
So that exercise component is critically important.
Sure.
But the other thing with exercise, and we talked about diet, is sleep, getting proper sleep, good quality sleep. So when I sleep, it's the recovery processes that are going on. So and what do they say good quality sleep? They say 7 to 10 hours is what's classified as that. But does it mean, oh my gosh, I only sleep 4 hours a day? Is it bad? Well, it's not the best for you. And studies show that it's interesting. There's a paradoxical point in this study that I was reading. 5 hours of sleep was actually more detrimental than 4 hours of sleep. I don't understand what that hour did. It was kind of peculiar. They didn't really explain it away readily. So I think more research needs to be done. I looked specifically for a reason why, and they could not come up with one. But they said that at 4 hours, you would have a little bit more testosterone than 5 hours. And so somehow in the study, the graph must have gone like this. So it was just kind of peculiar.
Wow.
But anyways, either way, if you get good quality restful sleep, I think is ultimately going to be the key. It's a restorative process. You'll find that if they did blood work in the morning, your testosterone levels will be a little bit higher. So it gives you the energy, the vigor, and everything else we're looking for.
Okay.
So those are really the components that are going to naturally help us to do it. And then, again, if you're still not feeling right, a blood test is going to determine if it is or not. And, the doctor actually now they're getting more specific between bound and free testosterone. So, 98% of our testosterone floating around in our body is bound to albumin and other,
things that's out for the experts
for the experts, and then there's the free testosterone. That's the one that actually does the intrinsic actions in our body.
Sure.
So that's the thing that I think that most physicians and endocrinologists are looking at more specifically now.
Okay.
And to help to create a healthier target to create a better you.
Sure.
But for us, again, eating well, sleeping well, exercising are the ways to naturally do that.
Yep. Good healthy living, and I don't know what else to say, Chris. You covered details here.
So hopefully it'll give us a little bit better, a little healthier selves, and hope you can get out, maybe lift some weights, and
there you go.
Get ready for that thing so you can feel a little bit more manly.
All right, very good.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck.
Have a great day.